Imagine giving your kids $2,000 today, and it saves them $200,000 in taxes tomorrow. Sounds impossible, right? But here's the twist. Most parents are legally walking into this trap without even knowing it. And it's not about hiding money. It's about a strategic move Kevin O'Leary swears by. Stick with me, because if you miss this, your kids could pay six figures unnecessarily. But there's a catch. It's not as simple as opening a bank account. Here's the problem most families don't see coming. You work hard, save money, and plan to leave your kids a financial head start. But when the IRS steps in, a $200,000 tax bill can wipe out decades of savings, and it happens because of something as simple as not structuring your inheritance properly. Parents assume gifting money or leaving assets in a standard will is enough. Wrong. Without a strategic tool, like a trust, the government takes a big bite. And this isn't theory. Kevin O'Leary has repeatedly warned, unprotected assets can be decimated by tax rules. Think about it. A child inherits your estate, but now owes a huge capital gains tax on investments you bought decades ago. That $50,000 investment, it could cost your child $25,000 to claim. Scale that across multiple assets, and suddenly your $2,000 gift today isn't just small. It's the difference between a thriving inheritance and a financial disaster. Here's where it gets interesting. A $2,000 setup today can legally shield your kids from $200,000 in taxes. And no, it's not a loophole. It's completely above board. Kevin O'Leary, the Shark Tank investor, calls this a must-do for any parent serious about wealth preservation. The core strategy? A simple, low-cost trust. Here's how it works. You create a trust for your kids. Cost? Around $2,000 with a professional attorney. You fund the trust with cash or assets. The trust owns the assets, not your children directly. This changes everything, because when your child inherits assets via a trust, capital gains taxes can be dramatically reduced or eliminated. The assets are protected from creditors, and the inheritance process avoids probate, saving time and legal fees. Think about the math. If a $200,000 taxable gain is reduced even by 50%, that's $100,000 saved, and that's why O'Leary calls it a no-brainer. But don't start drafting your trust just yet. There's a critical step most people miss, and it can ruin everything. There are dozens of trust types, but only one really works for tax protection at this scale. Revocable trusts, flexible, easy to change, but not great for taxes. Irrevocable trusts, harder to change, but they remove assets from your taxable estate. Here's the twist. Most parents think flexibility is better. Wrong. Flexibility can kill the tax benefits. The trust must be structured irrevocably for maximum impact. Kevin O'Leary emphasizes, you don't just want a trust, you want a trust that's professionally managed and legally bulletproof. Even a small mistake can cost tens of thousands of dollars. And here's the kicker. There's a legal strategy that can double the impact of this trust. Most families don't even know it exists. Once the trust is in place, smart planning amplifies its benefits. Step 1. Invest within the trust wisely. Certain assets, like ETFs or stocks held long-term, get preferential capital gains treatment. Step 2. Gift the assets properly. Instead of direct transfers, the trust can distribute gains gradually, reducing tax brackets. Step 3. Leverage exemptions. Some trusts allow the first $100,000 plus of gains to be tax-free under current law, if structured correctly. Bottom line, a $2,000 setup today can save your child hundreds of thousands of dollars over a lifetime. But here's where it gets tricky. Timing matters. Set it up too late, and the IRS sees it as a tax dodge. Too early, and your kids may lose control of the funds prematurely. That's why O'Leary stresses timing and professional guidance. Here are the biggest mistakes parents make with trusts. DIY trusts, free templates online, they don't hold up in court. Ignoring tax laws. Trusts have complex rules, and the IRS audits aggressively. Overfunding too early. Kids may become financially dependent or irresponsible. Picking the wrong trustee. You want professional fiduciaries, not just a family member who might mismanage assets. Avoid these, and your $2,000 setup works like magic. Mess these up, and your kids could lose six figures instead. Take the Smith family. They had $250,000 in investments. Without a trust, their child would owe $75,000 in capital gains taxes after inheritance. They spent $2,000 setting up an irrevocable trust. Then, assets were distributed strategically over 3 years. Result? Taxes paid dropped to $5,000. That's a $70,000 savings from a $2,000 investment. Kevin O'Leary calls this financial engineering for families. It's not about hiding money, it's about smart, legal planning that protects the next generation. And this works even if your estate is smaller, because tax rates hit investments, not cash. Even modest inheritances can be devastated without planning. The secret? Layered trusts with staggered ownership. First trust holds the primary assets. Second trust holds backup investments or contingencies. Why? It insulates children from legal claims, market crashes, and tax surprises. Kevin O'Leary calls this a two-layer defense. It's like insurance for inheritance, but instead of paying premiums, you pay $2,000 up front. Here's exactly what you do next. Hire a specialized estate lawyer. Look for experience with family trusts. Decide on the trust type. Irrevocable is usually best for tax protection. Fund the trust. Choose investments wisely. Designate a professional trustee. Ensures assets are managed properly. Plan distributions. Stagger timing to reduce tax exposure. Review annually. Laws change, and your trust should adapt. Follow these steps, and that $2,000 investment today could save your kids hundreds of thousands over a lifetime. And here's the final trick. When you understand this, it naturally connects to another O'Leary strategy that protects your family from lawsuits and creditors.
This is just the tip of the iceberg. If you want more smart, legal ways to protect your wealth and keep your family safe, make sure you subscribe and join us for every step. Your future self and your kids will thank you.